What happens when the very source of light and warmth, the heart of the cosmos, simply disappears? How does a world survive when the divine fire is stolen or quenched, and the very air turns against life?
Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to take a stack of ancient Hittite research and fragmentary cuneiform tablets and extract the chilling truth hidden within the myth of the vanishing sun god. We are seeking to understand the nature of cosmic fear and the terrifying power of Hahimaş, the curse that paralyzes creation.
It's so important to get that right at the start, this existential panic that defined the Hittite worldview. It's not like, say, the Mesopotamians, whose gods were often predictable, Here, the central power, the sun god, is inherently vulnerable. And when you look at the source material, the sun's absence isn't cyclical. It's not just night.
Yeah.
It is a rapid, catastrophic failure that threatens immediate extinction.
Exactly. So let's unpack the catalyst for this crisis, because our sources give two really fascinating and kind of conflicting explanations for the vanishing. They do, and they likely come from different regional traditions within the Hittite Empire. In one of the main accounts, this is just an act of cosmic treachery.
Treachery, so it's deliberate.
Oh, completely. That version tells us that these dark, evil powers, and they're not even really gods, more like conspiring forces, they set their minds on a great mischief.
Okay.
And their goal is so calculated. They secretly take the sun god away, and they do it to frighten both gods and mortals, but specifically, to see the devastating reaction of the chief deity, the great Storm God Teshub.
So it's a direct attack on his authority.
It's a targeted attack. The sun god is basically a pawn in a larger celestial power struggle.
But then you have the second myth, which offers a completely different motivation. It suggests the sun god isn't stolen at all. He acts out of his own furious will.
Yes, and in this alternate version, the disappearance is the ultimate act of divine wrath. The sun god is just done with the world.
So he just leaves.
He chooses to withdraw. He either descends into the deep, echoing chambers of the underworld, cutting off his light completely, or he allows himself to be held captive beneath the vast, turbulent waters by the sea god himself.
Wow. But either way, stolen by malice or paralyzed by anger, the consequences are immediate.
It's immediate and catastrophic.
And what's truly striking to me is the god's reaction. It's how physical their fear is. They aren't just worried about darkness.
Right.
They're worried about the sun god literally breaking. You'd imagine divine panic leads to ritual or prayer, but their first thought is engineering.
That's it, exactly. They view the sun as this celestial body, a massive, hot, physical thing that's susceptible to impact. The sources detail these extraordinary precautions taken for the physical fall of the sun god from the sky.
So what are they doing?
The divine engineers, they plan designs for a massive container. We are talking about a gargantuan net or a vessel specifically built to catch him.
Think about that visual. These supreme beings panicking at the thought of a cosmic crash landing, trying desperately to build something big enough to cradle a falling star.
The source of all life. It's an image of just profound technological helplessness, because for all their planning,
They fail.
they fail. They don't find him in time, and they can't prevent the total collapse of reality.
And that failure, that's what ushers in the true villain of this story. The absolute curse known as
Emma. Yeah.
This is the moment we really need to dwell on, because this isn't just a cold snap or a long night. It's described as a profound, almost malicious hardness, a plague of ice, frost, and rime that just takes over the world.
The very instant the heat and light cease, this black winter is defined by absolute rigidity.
How bad does it get?
The sources go into terrifying detail about the paralysis this curse inflicted. The land, which needs warmth to be pliable, it became instantly barren and restricted. The soil froze so deep and so hard that seeds couldn't sprout. They just wouldn't.
So fertility itself just vanishes.
From the entire earth. And then there's the water crisis.
I can imagine.
Rivers, the arteries of the landscape, and the Great Lakes, they all froze into these thick, motionless sheets of ice, which led to this devastating thirst for every living creature. Liquid water just stopped being a thing you could use.
The life-giving element becomes a prison.
A stony prison. But maybe the most horrifying part was the cessation of vitality itself. The text states it explicitly. All life froze into this terrifying stillness. Animals stopped mating.
Wow.
Their reproductive drives just extinguished. Humans stopped reproducing. It was as if the entire world was put into a vast, silent sleep, a cosmic stasis.
Who was left holding the bag for this universal catastrophe? the weight immediately falls upon the chief deity, right? The storm god, Hahimaş.
Since the sun is either stolen to spite him or vanished because of some anger the gods think he could have prevented, Teshub is held responsible. The cosmic order is undone, and it's on him.
So what does he do?
Well, his initial actions just scream desperation. He mobilizes the fastest thing he has, his brother, the wind. He appoints him chief searcher. The wind is commanded to search everywhere, the high mountains, the deepest waters, the gardens, the meadows.
But there's a chilling detail in that command, isn't there? Teshub tries this sort of preemptive strike against the cold.
He does. It's this kind of ritual command to preserve life. He tells the wind, let the wetness inside you go and prevent them, meaning the plants, from drying out.
He's asking the wind to do the sun's job, to maintain humidity, to physically inject moisture back into dying plants.
It's a really poignant attempt to fight the inevitable, but it fails completely. The wind can't penetrate the stillness or the ice.
And after that failure...
After that, Teshub sends the heavy hitters of the Hittite pantheon. We see the war god Zababa, the protective goddess Inor, Gulu, even Hanahana, the great mother goddess. They're all sent out.
And even Telepinu is sent, which is just darkly ironic.
Oh, hugely ironic.
I mean, Telepinu, the god of agriculture, was known in other myths for his own nasty habit of disappearing and causing famines.
Exactly. Sending the perpetually absent god to find the vanished one, it speaks volumes about their mounting panic.
And they all fail.
All of them. The darkness, the freezing cold, the ice, it just hinders all sight and movement. And the difficulty of navigating this frozen apocalypse is shown by this grim little note in the ancient texts.
What's that?
Searchers died during the mission. These were gods, divine messengers, and they perished in the frost.
That's where the celestial politics get really ugly, because when the sun god is eventually brought back, and the text is a bit broken here, suggesting different sources were merged, he doesn't return with gratitude.
Not at all. He immediately shifts the blame. The responsibility and the ultimate guilt for the deceased searchers, he puts it squarely on the storm god.
A complete undermining of the supreme deity.
It really raises a fundamental question about their whole power structure. I mean, why is the storm god, the chief deity with thunder and lightning, so totally impotent against cold and ice?
The source material is clear on that, isn't it? The cold power of Hahimaş literally silences his lightning. It just freezes his power source.
Renders him inert.
Yet even then, paralyzed and shamed, Teshub offers one of the most powerful, dramatic lines in the entire cycle. He refuses to submit entirely.
That defiant cry.
If you capture my hands and feet, you will not capture my eyes. He may be frozen, humiliated, but he's still a witness. He maintains his consciousness. That is just a pure moment of raw will against elemental defeat.
And if we look beyond that main narrative of theft and rage, we find evidence in the sources that this vulnerability of the sun god was a constantly evolving problem for them. There's a separate, distinct myth.
A fascinating contrast to the total disappearance.
Yeah.
This is where the sun faces a different kind of disaster, right? Just starts to fade.
A slow burn disaster, literally. The sun starts losing its ability to burn, to produce effective heat, and crucially, for them to cook. The text really emphasizes this domestic failure. The sun cries out in distress because its power is dwindling.
But it's still visible in the sky.
It is. The sea god investigates and finds the sun so drained of energy it couldn't even heat a common cooking pot.
And in this version, the threat isn't cold, it's oppression. It's these dark, evil spirits, sometimes personified by a mysterious, black-clad human, and they're enslaving the sun right there in the sky.
They're just sapping its vital energy.
The god's solution here is just beautifully desperate and, again, so physical. To fight this fading light, they resort to, well, to monumental construction.
Yes, they try to physically buttress the sky. They bring a massive 9-step-long ladder to prop up against the firmament. They're trying to stabilize the celestial roof and drive off the oppressors.
That image god's building a ladder to shore up the sky. It tells you that for the Hittites, the cosmos wasn't some abstract thing. It was a physical structure that could be repaired.
Or, in the first case, needed a net to stop it from crashing. It just underscores the practical, terrifying precariousness of their entire existence.
But let's go back to that great freeze, to the failed rescue attempts. The storm god, the war god, the wind. All that celestial might proved useless against the passive, unrelenting force of Hahimaş.
And this is the ultimate mythological inversion. This is the moment where wisdom triumphs over brute force, when all hope seemed truly exhausted and the powerful male gods had failed.
In steps Hanahana, the great-grandmother of the gods, the embodiment of wisdom.
She stepped forward, and she recognized that the solution lay not in more power, but in finding something small and subtle.
Her chosen rescuer wasn't another god of battle or speed. It was a tiny, seemingly insignificant creature, a bee.
A bee, which, against all odds, successfully located the hidden or imprisoned sun god.
The choice of the bee has to be symbolic.
Oh, highly symbolic. The bee represents fertility, community, the cyclical nature of seasons and harvest. It's the perfect creature to defeat the power of Hahimaş, which is, anti-fertility and anti-cycle.
And the bee's mission wasn't just to find him. It was a ritualistic intervention, right? To appease his rage or wake him up.
It performs two specific, contrasting actions. First, it stings the sun god, a painful, sudden shock to get his attention or quell his anger.
And
then second, it immediately gathers honey and beeswax to gain his favor and sort of restore his sweetness.
So it's this combination of sharp pain and sweet appeasement, magic and humble wisdom.
And it finally worked. The successful ritual convinced the sun god to relent and return to the world.
And the moment the sun regained its orbit and began to shine again, the frozen power of Hahimaş, what happened?
An instantaneous reversal. Its curse, that terrible hardness, was built on the absence of heat. With heat restored, it quickly and completely dissolved.
The renewal was catastrophic in reverse.
Swift and restorative, the ice melted, the frozen rivers flowed again, the parched earth turned green, and vitality was restored. Life, suspended in that frozen sleep, was reawakened.
And order was confirmed.
Allowing the gods to finally feast once more, celebrating not just the return of light, but the successful defeat of total oblivion.
The enduring insight here really is that the Hittite cosmos was just fundamentally fragile. Its stability hinged not on the unshakable might of the storm god, but on the delicate temperamental nature of the sun. And when all the ultimate powers failed, the solution came from the source that best understood cyclical life and appeasement, the wisdom of a grandmother goddess, and the dual nature of the tiny bee, carrying both the sting and the sweetest reward.
It really forces you to consider which parts of your own world you just assume are eternally stable. The Hittites feared total elemental paralysis, and their answer to that terror was humility, finding salvation in the very smallest unit of creation.
I hope you've enjoyed our deep dive into this mysterious world of vanished gods and cosmic frost. We've extracted the key knowledge points about Emma and the surprising inversion of power in the Hittite pantheon. If you like this deep dive, please consider sharing it with a friend. Until we meet again next week to follow the trail of another ancient legend, take care.